Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be doing our spoiler discussion of Black Widow. So we'll be diving into all the nitty-gritty stuff, especially with the post-credits scene. But before we get to there, we will just discuss as much of the movie as possible, or at least what we can remember. So, anything you guys want to start off with?
Spoilers! Spoilers! Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers. Black Widow dies.
Everybody knew that. They didn't even spoil it.
Black Widow dies in this one. That one who died in Infinity was a clone.
What do you mean? Lightning McQueen dies. Have you not seen the movie?
Spider-Man's in this one, guys. Spider-Man's in it, and then the multiverse happens.
Yeah, and Batman dies as well.
Mephisto was behind it all. Can you believe it? Mephisto was behind everything. Alright, that's the spoiler discussion. Alright, thanks for watching another Nerdcast video. You guys have been great. Alright.
Turns out it was Kevin Feige behind it all along.
Yep.
I want to get into the thick of the movie, basically, like pretty much everything we couldn't discuss. So, do you not remember the theories that the dude's name, Black Widow, knows the guy that supplies him with all the stuff, like the plane and all that?
Man, I don't remember that guy.
He was kind of a weird character. He was kind of just there.
Black Widow's friend. Okay, we'll just call him Black Widow's friend.
He had the most brutal MCU death. He's like, he gets Black Widow the Quinjet, and then Black Widow goes to him, "You're a really good friend."
And his character just kind of felt out of place. I mean, I didn't mind that he's the kind of guy that like supplies you with the stuff, but like he never really is there in the movie. I only remember like 3 scenes of him in the movie. That's about it.
He's fighting with the base, like the caravan,
Uh-huh.
and there was the helicopter and the Quinjet at the end. Although I think no, I have a feeling there was one more time, wasn't there?
Oh, I think that was it. Cause that whole Quinjet thing was to set up the fact that she was leading into at least leading up to that whole Civil War ending where they're gonna free Falcon and all of them because they're in the raft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, are they in the raft?
Yeah, because like this is supposed to pick up during Civil War. How long ago did Civil War take place? Because like Nat's traveling around the world. Did they already get everybody else freed? So she's just like picking everybody up or something.
I think it's like a year and a half after, like 2017, late 2016, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it depends. I'm not really sure what they really did because like we don't know because we know that Clint and Ant-Man pretty much do retirement or they pretty much go on house arrest because they don't want to be like wanted criminals because they have families and all that. But then Scarlet Witch and Vision pretty much
They go on vacations and just get off really easy.
They had the big old aeroplane smash up, and then she's obviously a traitor now. But I don't think she wouldn't have been on the run, do all the stuff that she does in this movie, and then come back and break the other guys out. Like, did you just forget about them?
after that whole like okay, well when they're sending the team cap to where they need to be. So is the remaining like Falcon, Captain America, and now Black Widow? Is she like just picking up Captain America and Falcon just to do like Secret Avengers type stuff? Because they said that during Infinity War, or at least Team Cap during Infinity War, Falcon, Black Widow, and Captain America, they were doing like secret missions and all that because they were wanted fugitives, but they're still gonna do like Avengers type stuff just on the down low. I wanted to ask you guys this: this movie didn't really explore anything new with Black Widow besides the story of this movie basically being the whole we have to shut down the Red Room.
What do you mean? We had the pheromones, that amazing addition.
Pheromones, yeah. Who would have thought that smell would be a hero's weakness? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
My favorite Marvel character, Pheromone Man.
You know what? I'm gonna defeat the villain. I'm gonna defeat the villain by smashing my nose on the table.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just like I don't know, guessed that he was in her distance, right? So she couldn't do anything. But like the dude was kind of walking away from her, or at least walking close to her, so she could have like at least backed up a bit.
I think it's like the pheromones are, like quite a large area. I don't really know. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah, I don't take biology.
I do, but I still don't understand it.
Yeah, MCU logic.
What was the bloody build up for Budapest? We just got mention of Budapest and just like, oh yeah, me and Clint just hit out here. And like, okay, show us the damn flashback.
Yeah,
They only showed one flashback, and that was to tie in with the whole Natasha's like one like sin of many has been bombing Dreykov, but her daughter in it. Thing is, like, okay, I would have at least liked to see Jeremy Renner, like talking to Natasha and everything. I'm not sure if that's new.
his voice would have been in it, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's like new audio or
It probably is new audio. It makes sense because, like, when is he gonna say, "Are you gonna bomb the building?" Like in the MCU?
Cap, are you gonna bomb the building?
Yeah. What about Dracov's daughter? What are you talking about, Hawkeye? Oh, sorry, I'm just pre-recording the audio.
They're on the Infinity War thing, and they're about to go to Varmint. Hold on, I gotta make one more stop. Yeah, is this Budapest?
Yeah.
It's like I gotta make one more stop. He goes to Marvel Studios like recording booth. It's just like, yo, I need to record this one scene real quick. I'll be back.
Yeah. Give me a minute. I need this paycheck.
I wanted more flashbacks because Nat has like such interconnected history in the past. Like in Winter Soldier, she knows Loki because her time as an assassin led her to meet up with Winter Soldier back in the day, and also how she met Clint and how Clint kind of took Natasha under her wing because we see during that brutal ass fight scene with Yelena and Natasha, and I mean. I like that fight scene, man. That was one of the many fight scenes I enjoyed just because of the pure brutality and the fact that one of them was just trying to one up the other, like how painful one hit is. I don't mind Easter eggs, like, oh, what bullet holes do that? Those aren't bullet holes. So it's like a wink and a nod to the camera, like that's Hawkeye, but show us that because we never really seen that aspect of Natasha's life being the Budapest. And after how many MCU movies, these two Jokers keep mentioning Budapest, and we're like, what is Budapest about?
Yeah.
And then here they just kind of ignore it.
I might have thought that having Hawkeye in the movie would detract from Black Widow being the star. You know, I think, especially for monetary reasons, you know, marketing it as, you know, the Black Widow solo film. Because everyone's been asking for a Black Widow solo film, so saying, if you went out and said this is the Hawkeye and Black Widow duo, people would have been like, oh, why don't you just do a solo film with Black Widow?
But to that, I would say you don't need to headline Jeremy Renner beside Scarlett Johansson. You could just have him in a few scenes, and I think that would work. Because one, it doesn't overshadow Black Widow because it's a flashback scene. At the same time, it kind of gives fans something to enjoy, like, oh, a flashback to one of like Natasha and Clint's like past missions or something like that, or at least something because people enjoy or at least are familiar with that duo, right? So it kind of gives fans a thing to enjoy.
Well, before, what I thought you were saying, Haresh, was why didn't, you know, do the whole movie in Budapest and show the Budapest mission, which I would have preferred, actually. I think it would have been better.
It definitely would have been cool to see.
Yeah.
I think that would have been cool because like it would have been nice to just see something already mentioned instead of this whole new story. Because like it was good, but it would have been nice to just see like a flashback. Because Clint and Black Widow are a really cool dynamic, and I wanted to like see more of that. I know we saw plenty of it, but like pre-Avengers, because they haven't got what super soldiers or go berserk when they get angry.
The very human characters of the MCU.
Compared to gods.
So they kind of look useless in, you know, the big Avengers team battles, you know. You know, you got the literal God of Thunder
and a guy who can shoot good.
Yeah, and you got like one of the smartest men on Earth. You got
some acrobatic chick. But I mean, okay, to your point, to both your points, I feel like instead of a movie, right? I feel what if Black Widow was a Disney Plus series? I feel like that could have had a certain number of episodes, but you could flesh out that story through many seasons because Scarlett Johansson doesn't even need to do much. I mean, besides recording or at least doing action and doing all that for however many episodes they are doing, right? I feel like there's more leg room or at least more breathing room to explore her origins. Like maybe the first season can show how her imprisonment in the Red Room and how much of that suffering she had to go through. But then maybe the second season it explores her having to try and come into her own. And then in later seasons you could maybe get a cameo from Winter Soldier. Then they could probably wrap it up in a neat bow with like the last episode or at least like some episodes in the lead up where Clint finds Natasha and finally recruits her to be a SHIELD agent and all that sort of stuff. Because I feel like while a movie could work, you're only limited to a certain number of hours, or 2 hours in this case, to really give a digestible story. Whereas with a TV series, you have so many hours to flesh out an entire storyline or storylines in that case. So yeah.
I do think the movie was the right option because like Black Widow is already like an established character. I mean, like so were Falcon and Winter Soldier, but like it's a bit like Bad Batch. I think it would have been quite a bit more filler, which wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could be right. It might have been awesome, but
I think as well as that, Scarlett Johansson, you know, her contract was pretty much done with Marvel.
Yeah.
At that point, I don't think they wouldn't have been able to keep her around for a TV show, which is, you know, a much longer process with filming compared to a movie.
Yeah, TV series take much longer to film than movies.
Yeah.
I mean, but to that, I mean, we can go with a reference to a show with Loki. We saw Tom Hiddleston as Loki's last performance, quote unquote, last performance in Endgame. But now with Loki and with its season one being highly praised and highly successful, even makes you, for an actor like Tom Hiddleston, it would be odd of him to not go, damn, I want to continue this. Like, if my character is successful, not just in the big screen, but in the small screen, I mean, I can continue to play this for as long as I want.
Things though, like actors don't always get to choose. Like sometimes they're like, yeah, I want to
Yeah.
continue the character, and then the studio's like, no, like, but no.
Yeah, and something like Disney, which has kind of become the corporate overlord of the movie world. I doubt that actors have much say, except if they want to keep going with the character. I mean, maybe Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr., RDJ could, because they're the money making characters. I think if a studio's and the actor's like, yeah, I'm bored of it, well, you may as well end it.
Okay, so Taskmaster, as you said before, is great in the first act. Like, that's just amazing, but it goes completely downhill from there.
The third act or the final act where everything's blowing up, or these guys are literally like skydiving down, like literally skydiving and holding onto shards of glass. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm up for a good action sequence, of course, but like, of course, it's superhero stuff. Not everything's meant to be believable, but like for me, it just kind of escapes that. It almost makes it distracting because it's like, yeah, I don't believe you'd be holding on to that long window
Yeah.
and all that. That kind of thing. That's just a personal bug of mine.
Story is just quite bland. It's not that uninteresting, but it's cliche enough that you're familiar to it. So you've seen this before. It's like it's a Mission Impossible movie with Black Widow.
I struggle to remember it.
Yeah, if you took Black Widow out of this, it could be any movie.
Yeah.
For me, that's why I like Marvel movies sometimes when they draw influences from certain movies that are like Mission Impossible, which is why I really adored this movie, because that's why I still hold by my 7 out of 10 because of the fact that this movie is able to really follow and not like. I want to say it kind of mimicked or copied Mission Impossible Fallout, but was able to follow in those specific beats that Mission Impossible has, like a good kind of beginning, strong setup, and the way they flesh out the characters. But then
Mission Impossible just did it better.
yeah, I mean, Black Widow, you only just did Mission Impossible for like the first act, and if that was your entire movie, then I would have said something else. But the fact that you guys only just stuck with that the first act is just, I mean, you're only saving grace in my opinion.
Yeah.
I will say though, it wasn't horrific. It's not offensively bad.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Trying to think of a bad movie. It's not Man of Steel.
It's not a DC movie.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
It's not a Snyder movie. Don't get me wrong. I just want to say this. We do not hate this movie because of the fact that it's women centric or anything like that. I want to preface that.
Also, that's one of the things I liked about this movie. It had a mainly female cast, but it didn't flex it or anything. Go like, look,
Yeah.
we're all grr. I don't know how to say it, but it didn't.
Girls get it done.
Yeah, it didn't focus on it. Like it wasn't like a major point. It was just like, yo, it's this cool.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool.
That's what I was gonna say. Like that also goes to my point of I don't hate Taskmaster being a female, but what are they gonna do going forward? Or at least they could have made something innovative out of that version of the character. Because anything new of Marvel, they did that with Ant-Man and the Wasp, the Ghost, the villain. Ghost was originally male, and now they did female, right? Kind of like the same thing where they did it, right? Okay, villain who was once male in the comics is now female in this cinematic adaptation, right? But you just don't do anything with it. It's just nothing of substance. They just do that's new or something that's refreshing.
I think the difference as well between Taskmaster and Ghost was nobody knew who Ghost was. Taskmaster, it turns out he's actually got quite the big fan base. I had no idea before this. I thought, I always really liked him. I thought I was part of this sort of niche kind of Taskmaster fan club. But turns out, he's everybody loves him.
Yeah, it's because he's made like several appearances on like animated TV shows, especially with video games. And my cousin got me like a few comic book, or at least like 5 issues of this comic book called like Avengers Secret, or like it's Avengers but with like secret labeled all over it. And your main focus is on Black Widow and Hawkeye and like their missions when they join Shield. But then there's one part of the comic that's dedicated to Nick Fury and Taskmaster, or at least there's like some part of the comic where Taskmaster gets a spotlight, and you kind of get a sense of his character. He's a bit of like quippy, he's like jokey, but also a guy that like if can really get down in the fight. It's like the jokey tough guy, which I'm surprised at. And I was like, oh, he's kind of a decent character, and I'm pretty sure Marvel has even done at least some comic runs with Taskmaster, like a Taskmaster solo series.
I remember watching there was like a 3D animated movie, like a TV movie, Iron Man and Captain America taking down Hydra, and they like Taskmaster was in that. And that was cool. That was like my first experience with Taskmaster, and I really enjoyed it. He was like a cool character, and I was expecting something similar in Black Widow, and I see where they were going, but it just no.
Are we all okay if you want to segue into the post credits of it all? The post credit sequence?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You get a post credit sequence where Yelena visits the grave of Black Widow. It's a nice emotional, bittersweet scene, you know, because it's like Yelena's sister is dead, and like it's almost symbolic because now she's like saying goodbye to the Black Widow, because now this whole movie, I guess, it's setting her up as the new Black Widow now, because you know it was mainly centric because now this MCU movies going forward, we're going to be focusing on a new generation, or at least the versions of our legacy characters like your Captain America now being Sam Wilson, because Steve has now like kind of retired that role, or now like with their Iron Man, now him being dead has led to Ironheart slowly and surely paving her way through the MCU.
Oh yeah, am I just hallucinating, or was Ironheart teased or something in a movie?
No, Ironheart was teased.
It was like during the Disney the investors meeting for Marvel, because they had like Disney had like this whole like investors live stream, right, where they just announced, hey, this is what content we have for Star Wars, and when they got to the Marvel stuff, they were just shooting left and right because they had so much, and one of the shows they announced was Armor Wars, which would be a War Machine centric TV show, but also a Ironheart being one of the many TV shows as well, which was pretty dope.
That's where I've heard it before. Yeah. So they're coming into the MCU.
Yeah.
They're coming into the MCU. I'm not sure when exactly, but most likely in the later years to come for like whatever next if they just crossover we'll most likely see those younger faces there. So now on to this. So you know, like it's a sad meeting and all that, and then turns out Valentina from the Falcon and Winter Soldier, who was recruiting John Walker, is now recruiting Yelena, or we see that she's already recruited her because she's like, Yelena, I mean, my bad, Valentina, you're bothering me on my holiday. And she's like, hey, you want a raise? Here's the man that killed your sister.
Oh, I thought that was someone else. So unmemorable. Doesn't matter.
The thing was, this Valentina character was actually supposed to appear on Black Widow. Supposed to be her first appearance, but with the delays of Black Widow, that's why we're seeing her for the second time. Because, you know, they released Falcon and Winter Soldier before this, so if everything was proper scheduled, you would have seen Valentina in this movie, the post-credit scene. We would have seen her in Falcon and Winter Soldier after, but now the order has shifted. We get the reveal that it's Clint. She shows a tablet of Clint Barton. If people really don't know what the hell's going on there, I mean, it's a dead giveaway if you don't know. They're setting her up for the Hawkeye series. With that scene right there alone sets up the fact that Yelena Belova is going to appear on there. Because they confirmed that, because apparently recent news already, I'm not sure whether it was today or yesterday, but it is confirmed that in 2021 we'll be getting Miss Marvel and Hawkeye dropping this year. We don't know when, but they are confirmed to drop this year. So
What was that again, sorry? What's dropping?
Miss Marvel and Hawkeye. Those are the two Disney Plus shows that'll be dropping later this year as well. So I think they're trying to build some hype for that. So hype for specifically for the Hawkeye TV series, which I'm kind of stoked about, not gonna lie. But now on to another thing. Do you guys think this is a Dark Avengers, or do you guys think this is Thunderbolts?
I don't really know.
I think it's Thunderbolts, to be honest. You know, I think I read something that She-Hulk was going to introduce Red Hulk, and he became quite a big part of the Thunderbolts.
Yes, actually, yeah, there was. Weren't they going to get the same actor from Incredible Hulk?
Thunderbolt Ross, because Ross appeared on here, right? Black Widow kind of makes a joke that, hey, your health is not really steady at this, like, for these past few years or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe like that kind of leads into Ross going, well, I need to get something, and then like maybe whatever he gets injected with turns out to be some sort of like Red Hulk formula. My only thing is it depends on whether the actor really wants to stick around or not. I think he'll mainly just be a small cameo type of character now.
William Hurt.
Yeah, William Hurt.
He's the guy for Ross, right? Yeah.
Yeah. My theory is that it could either be Thunderbolts, right, or it could be Dark Avengers. Because my thinking for Dark Avengers is because of the fact that Valentina is recruiting polar opposites of the same hero. John Walker, U.S. agent, who's kind of like a polar opposite of Captain America, and now Yelena Belova being the new Black Widow, being almost a polar opposite of Natasha, Black Widow. Or they could do like an amalgam, and I wouldn't even mind that. Hey, if later on they want to introduce Norman Osborn, right? What would be cool is maybe somehow or rather
Mm.
Valentina gets shifted to the side, or maybe from some sort of accident that character is benched, right? And maybe Norman Osborn can step into the fray and lead the Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts or whatever. So yeah,
Ooh.
that'd be pretty dope.
I mean, what's the difference, really? I mean, they're probably gonna have the sort of same plot line. Yeah, I don't know. I don't read the Dark Avengers comics, but I assume they'll just be an evil Avengers team. One thing I would say, though, is I don't think they're gonna do Dark Avengers, because quite a big part of that team was Darkin. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Dakin or Darkin.
Dakin or Dakin?
Yeah, that's Wolverine's son, and obviously that's an
Ah.
X-Men thing, and they're not being introduced yet. And also Venom had something to do with that team.
I think it was Black Suit Spider-Man. They got oh if I remember correctly, it was I forgot the Scorpion's name.
Matt Gargan. Matt Gargan. I think it was Matt Gargan.
Instead of I think something rather Norman Osborn gives him the symbiote, and Matt Gargan is like the Black Suit Spider-Man of the Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
Something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And Bullseye is a Netflix character because technically Bullseye made his appearance in Daredevil season 4, right? And Bullseye ends up becoming the Dark Avengers version of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, have maybe your ratings or your opinions on this movie changed, or do you guys still feel relatively the same? Like to me, I'm still sticking with my 7 out of 10.
I wasn't in the last one of these, so I can't really have a changing opinion. I'm gonna be controversial here, and I'm gonna say 6 out of 10.
I respect that. Oh, you know what? Now you want to make me change, but no, no, no. I won't.
Hey, don't copy me. Don't copy me. I want to be the only 6 out of 10. I want to be the cynical one on the channel.
I mean, Jordan didn't do that much to be higher above you. He put a 0.5 on his rating to your 6. So I mean, that don't change much.
But yeah, I think overall it kind of feels like, I don't think it was offensively bad, but it just kind of feels a bit forgettable, a bit bland. And I think after Loki, it felt like DLC. It was like DLC to Civil War. And, it was good entertainment. I had a good time watching it. 6 out of 10. Pulled down for Taskmaster and being forgettable. Kind of liked the villain. I thought he had a good performance for a character who he didn't really have much to do. It was quite gripping. I think we get a lot of government official villains, and I think he kind of made his little mark to say, I'm different from the other ones.
I think we can wrap it up there. That was a fun chat, fun spoiler discussion. We discussed what we liked and what we didn't like on an in-depth type of beat. On that note, thank you guys so much for watching once again. Maybe leave some comments on what you thought about Black Widow. What did you think worked? What did you not think worked? And what do you think overall? As always, thank you so much, and see you guys next time.